Story time! I've never been a big fan of pop punk. It's just never really been my thing. I've never actively hated it, or at least I don't currently actively hate it, but I don't love it either. I definitely actively hated it when I was a teenager. I was introduced to a lot of punk music through my dad, and his favorite bands were The Clash and the Sex Pistols. And I also liked a lot of proto-punk and garage rock stuff, like the Stooges and the Ramones and the New York Dolls. And I got really into crossover thrash and hardcore when I was getting into metal, stuff like the Cro-Mags and Suicidal Tendencies. And I was listening to a lot of music that was very angry, that was dealing with political, social issues. It was very in your face, very aggressive. And the idea of a punk song suddenly having a big poppy melody, it pissed me the hell off as a teenager. It felt so very anti-punk to me. My attitude was, how can you be punk and then have a big, dumb, glossy, catchy chorus? It doesn't make sense to me. The irony is that I didn't even really know what I was complaining about because I didn't really listen to a lot of pop punk or stuff adjacent to it. I didn't listen to a lot of emo music or post-hardcore or melodic hardcore at all. I just didn't. I just hated it because it existed. And actually, the real irony is that I did actually like some pop punk, but I maybe didn't want to admit it at the time, because I was 10 years old when Green Day dropped American Idiot, and I remember having that album and blasting the shit out of it, and I had the Bullet in a Bible live album, International Super Hits on CD, I bought 21st Century Breakdown when it came out as well. I hated Fall Out Boy and Blink-182 and Avril Lavigne and all that kind of stuff, but I was still listening to Green Day. I hated pop punk, but I was still listening to some pop punk. The other irony to this is that a lot of the other actual punk bands I just mentioned also all have hooks. They all write catchy songs. Like the Ramones, the New York Dolls, the Clash. They all had songs that were genuinely very cool and catchy and fun. So yeah, as a teenager, I just had no idea what I was talking about. But no one as a teenager has any idea what they're talking about. You hate something because it exists, or you love something because it exists. As I've gotten older, I've come to respect a lot of the things that Fall Out Boy, Blink-182, Avril Lavigne, All American Rejects, The Offspring, all these different bands have kind of done for pop and for punk music. And I now recognize that, even though it's not really my thing, there's a lot that these bands have added to these genres. And, it doesn't really matter if I think it's real punk or not real punk. People are jamming it. People are having fun. And, there's nothing really gained from trying to gatekeep, the spirit and essence of punk when these bands are selling millions and millions and millions of records anyway. Who gives a shit? Mr. Meltdown, why are you telling us all this? I'm glad you asked, random citizen, because I want to provide context for me telling you that there is one pop punk band, one genuine pop punk band that I really do truly love, that I really do truly respect, and I love everything from them. And I'm not talking about Green Day again. Green Day fell off. We all know it. Let's not fuck around. There's one specific band that writes really great, catchy, fun, anthemic pop punk bangers, and that I feel also is very authentic and very raw, and actually does kind of capture that spirit of punk that I kind of loved about punk when I was a teenager listening to classic punk. And that band is from my neck of the woods, Toronto, Ontario, and they're called PUP. Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new, very special, different episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today, we're talking about PUP. And filling in for Thrash and Jackson, we have my lovely wife, Mrs. Meltdown. Take it away!
That's not metal! You're gay! That's not a real metal band! Why are you talking about fake metal?
Oh no! I'm so triggered! You got me! Oh! They've been kicking around for roughly 15 years or so, with a debut EP coming out in 2010 and a self-titled debut album coming out in 2013. However, I first came to know of them through 2019's Morbid Stuff, their third full-length studio album. I remember some friends and I were walking by Sonic Boom, a massive record store here in Toronto, Ontario, kind of on the edge of Chinatown, right by Queen and Spadina. You can walk north like a minute, and it's right there. For those of you who don't know, go check it out. Shout out to Sonic Boom. And I remember seeing the display for Morbid Stuff in the window. We went in to look around, browse, perhaps buy some records, and something about that cover just really kind of drew me in. I don't even really know what it was. I was also told that PUP was from Toronto. I had heard a little bit of one of the songs, and it didn't sound too poppy to me, so I didn't even really think of it being like pop punk. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a shot on this. I like the vibe. I like the feel of this. I just got a good vibe and feel from the album. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna check it out. And I thoroughly enjoyed that album. Still do thoroughly enjoy that album. It's probably one of my favorite pop punk albums at all. And mind you, that would be a pretty small list of favorite pop punk albums, but still, nevertheless, I don't know if it was intentional, but I feel like that album kind of captured the vibe of Toronto kind of in the mid to late 2010s, you know? Like, that album just sounds and feels like a fun night out in 2010s Toronto. Like you're at Lee's Palace or Sneaky D's or Matty Matheson's Parts and Labor, rest in peace. Not to him, the restaurant. He's still out there. He's still doing great. Shout out to Matty as well. How you doing? It sounds like craft beer and nachos and cheeseburgers and fun, sweaty, indie punk vibes. Huge fan of the follow-up album, The Unraveling of PUP the Band as well, which was released in 2022. I love that vibrant, colorful album cover. I love how it expands on a lot of the themes of Morbid Stuff, and I like how it takes the music into more flexible, dynamic, robust, theatrical territory. Like, the production is bigger, there's a lot of little twists and a lot of like little weird moments to make the music feel a little more visceral and to help it flow and feel a little different. But it's still quintessentially PUP, It's a lot of the same types of hooks, a lot of the same types of lyrics, a lot of the same types of themes, just different and refined and like just weird enough. That album also got a massive window display at the aforementioned Sonic Boom. And I remember my mom was in Toronto. This is 100% a real story. This was a month away from us getting married. And my mom was talking to me about like, oh, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for this. And we were talking about like, oh, you got to pay for all this stuff. And I went into Sonic Boom and bought this and like a bunch of other records. I bought like Undeaf. I bought some Integrity reissues. I think I bought an Orville Peck album that time as well. I don't remember. But the point is I bought a whole bunch of vinyl. And my mom's talking to me about it like, Robert, you got to pay for the wedding. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I bought tunes.
Yeah,
soundtrack. I got the soundtrack. We don't need to hire the DJ.
that's right.
There's an element of truth to that. We never had a DJ. We just played records here at the house. I was the DJ. I was a pretty good DJ.
I think so.
I think so. I mean, I'm biased. You're biased. We're biased because it's us and it was our wedding. But I thought I did a pretty good job. And now PUP have a brand new album, Who Will Look After the Dogs? It came out just a couple of days ago. And I guess we can consider this part of the video like an actual review for this album, since it just so recently came out, and since I have been jamming it quite a bit, and since I am really thoroughly enjoying it. Now, once again, I do like the weirder flavors and textures and dynamics and the bigger production of The Unraveling of PUP the Band, but I really appreciate this more back-to-basics, down-to-earth, kind of Canadian punk aesthetic of this album. It has angry, anxious, frustrating moments, but it's not a bummer of a record. In fact, I would say it actually has a lot more spirit than something like Morbid Stuff, and also a pretty good sense of humor. Like, the album can be pretty tongue-in-cheek sometimes. The sound and feel and production of this record, too, it's a little bit more ballsy. Like, there's more static, there's more feedback, you hear the guitars wailing, you hear kind of shit coming off the speakers and all that. The bass has like a grisly, grimy kind of sound and feel. Whereas Morbid Stuff captured the vibe of a 2010s Toronto night out, this is a 2010s Toronto night out. Like, I don't feel like I'm at Lee's Palace. I am at Lee's Palace right now, and paying far too much for a Jack and Coke, might I add. Okay, to be fair, they're not even that bad. The concert hall and the mod club, however, Jesus Christ, overpriced-ass drinks. The fuck is wrong with you? Opening number No Hope is a spirited, fun, spritzy, punky affair, short and straight to the point with a nice big chorus that makes you want to sing along and pump your fists right away. I love the scratchy, scrappy kind of like indie punk sound and tone here. I love how it fades out and transitions pretty cleanly into the following cut, Olive Garden, which on surface level from the name is very much about meeting at an Olive Garden, and to an extent, that's true. I mean, the opening line is literally, let's meet at the Olive Garden, so yeah, there you go. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that Olive Garden is a little bit more endearing than that. You'll find that the song is about repairing a relationship, getting back together with somebody, reconnecting after a very, very long time apart. And there's anxiety there, and there's tension there, and you're nervous, but like you want to make it work. That's a very relatable feeling, and I like how it's expressed here. Love the slower kind of like pounding, plodding, chunky riffage here with some subtle melodic licks thrown in as well. Very like classic 2010s indie alt-punk, pop-punk vibes galore. Toronto essence all around. Do we even have an Olive Garden, come to think of it?
I don't think so.
Do we? We don't?
No.
I don't know. I've only been to one Olive Garden in my entire life, and it was in the
s-
States somewhere.
I could swear we used to have one like years ago, but we don't have them anymore.
We don't have a lot of those big American chains, mind you. Like, we don't have Chili's.
We had
There's one
Applebee's.
Applebee's in Mississauga.
When I was 16, I applied to work there.
Did you?
Yeah.
We're getting Anna lore. There's also Get Dumber, a very lively and semi-crazed collaboration with one Jeff Rosenstock. I like the use of hand claps here. I like the kind of nervous tension with these like yelling, shouting vocals in these like quieter, sparse verses, kind of contrasted and complemented with these heavier pounding riffs. Later on in the cut, there's like a genuinely kind of like towering, hammering wall of surprisingly pretty heavy, raw, gristly, grimy riffage that I am really digging the fuck out of. Falling Out of Love is very cool too, very bitter but very emotive and expressive. I like how it kind of inverts these kind of like lovey-dovey sounding chords and rhythms that you would hear in like a classic kind of like rock love song. Then there's Hunger for Death, initially a very naked, minimalistic cut, kind of opting for more old school, kind of like indie, emo kind of vibes, very bare bones, very expressive still too. There are some really cool and cathartic and nervous moments later on in the cut as well. Like it's kind of like guitar solo of sorts with this just like really like anxious, angular kind of melodic riffing over top these very simple riffs and beats. Paranoid is a great cut too, maybe the most full-blown punk cut on the record, with more wailing vocals, more aggressive, energetic riffage. Since this is basically a review for this album, I'll start wrapping up by giving this a score. I'll start wrapping up by giving this a 4 to 5. I think it's a great album. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of pop punk. I'm not, but I like pop. I like them a lot, and I really like this album a lot. And I like that this more back to basics, down to earth, kind of like Canadian punk rock aesthetic transitions also to the touring that PUP is doing. Like in July, they're basically doing a residency here in Toronto, playing at a bunch of historic venues and all these old places and like all these like local favorites as well. And they're doing a house show somewhere. I think it's like July 13th or 14th, something like that. If someone can get me into that, that'd be great. PUP, how you doing? Hit me up. I want to go. It said ask a punk. I don't know a lot of punks. It's not really my fault. I work a lot. I'm just get me in contact with a punk or you. Just get in you get in contact with me. I get in contact with you. Get me in the house show if you can. Please and thank you. In conclusion, PUP is the only pop-punk band I really care about. And if you don't know who they are or don't care about them, you need to change that immediately. Go check out Morbid Stuff. Go check out The Unraveling of PUP the Band, the new album as well, Who Will Look After the Dogs. Just came out. Great album. Check it out. Check out their older EPs and albums as well. Catch them live. Just trust me on this. If you're like me and you've been kind of iffy on pop-punk over the years, just check it out. It's everything that I would really want from pop punk. The essence, the authenticity, the rawness and honesty and earnesty of punk music with the catchier and brighter moments of pop music. And it's Toronto and it's great. And I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself and go in circles. So let's officially start wrapping things up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for talking about something new and different with me. Wow! Shout out to PUP, hope you're doing well. Shout out to all the PUP fans that might be here right now. If you like what you heard and you want to chat more about music, granted on the heavier side, but nevertheless, make sure you subscribe. Join us on Discord as well. Boom, more videos, and as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.